Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to East Coast Wagering. This Saturday at Belmont Park, we have a great card which includes 4 graded stakes races, 2 of which that are grade 1s in the Belmont Derby and Belmont Oaks. Both of those races have large prize pools which have lured in some stiff competition from Europe, but I still think there's value to be found in those races. Today I'm going to break down those 2 races, give my selections, structure a late pick 5, and also give my picks for the entire Belmont card that day. I'm going to start with race 7. It's the first of the grade 1 races. It's the grade 1 Belmont Oaks Invitational going 1.25 miles on the inner turf for 3-year-old fillies. And historically, whenever the Europeans do ship horses overseas to run in these US-based races, they do typically perform pretty well. Of the 10 horses entered in this race, 5 of them come from across the pond, one of them including my top selection here, the number 10 Concert Hall. Both the number 10 and the number 9 Agartha ran in the Tattersall's Irish 1000 Guineas, finishing 4th and 5th respectively. That race was only at 1 mile, and Agartha set the pace, but gave up late, which makes me question if she wants the extra quarter mile that she's going to get here. Concert Hall, on the other hand, seemed to be coming on late with plenty of run, and then validated in 2 subsequent efforts that distance won't be an issue with back-to-back grade 1 4th place tries. In one of those, she finished well in front of the number 4 here with the Moonlight. I expect a pretty slow pace, as that is the typical style for European races, and none of the US-based runners really want the lead. I think Concert Hall will be placed close enough to that slow pace that it shouldn't be a problem for her, and she should get first run on her main competitors. With the class advantage she already has, I think she is set up well for the win here, and I'm going to make her my top selection. I do think that the US-based contingent has some strong horses in the race this year, headed by the 3 Chad Brown trained horses, one of which is my second selection here, the number 3 Hottie, who last out won impressively, easily defeating 4 very overmatched rivals in the Penn Oaks. In that race, her first start since a fast-closing 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Fillies last November, she sat off the pace and when asked for a run, just cruised by the rest of the field. That race was at 1 mile, as was the Breeders' Cup race, but this filly looks like she wants to go longer, so the 1.25 miles should suit her well. It looks like Flavian Pratt likely had his choice of Hottie or the number 1 McCulloch, and he opted for this one. That itself says something, because McCulloch is a very nice horse. Like Concert Hall, I think Hottie should have a favorable position based on the expected pace. I like the way she quickly accelerates when asked, as with the slow pace, horses could get grouped up entering the stretch, and she may have to wait for an opening to develop. I think Hottie is a must-play in your exotic wagers, and I give her an outside chance of possibly winning this race. My third selection is another one of the Chad Brown trained horses. It's the number 5 Consumer Spending. Consumer Spending has won both attempts this year after finishing a close 6th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Fillies, about a length behind Hottie. Last out in the Grade 2 Wonder again, she sat a bit off the pace, but ran a similar race to what we saw from Hottie as she sped past the leaders into the stretch and pulled away. It wasn't as dominant as Hottie's win, but the competition was a bit classier in her race. With each of her last 2 races, she ran a bit longer and has improved from a figure perspective, so with the additional 1/8 of a mile, she could take another step forward and has a chance here. With all that said, I do think Concert Hall was the one to beat in this race, and in my late pick 5, I'm going to use her as a single. Race 8 is the Grade 3 Victory Ride going 6.5 furlongs on the dirt for 3-year-old fillies. And in this race, there appears to be abundance of speed. I think this pace is going to come up extremely hot in this one. Sometimes in these short distance races, you can have a horse that's just much the best, much the quickest, goes gate to wire and puts the rest of the field away. I don't think that's going to happen here, so I'm going to take a horse that I think that can effectively rate off the pace, and that's the number 2 Smash Ticket. Smash Ticket won her last out when destroying her competition in a non-winners of 2 lifetime allowance race. She won that race by 11 lengths, even after spotting a couple horses a length at the start. She quickly moved up alongside those and was hand-ridden to the lead around the turn, eventually pouring it on late. It was her first race in over 8 months and she won very impressively. The only thing that makes me pause about this one is that her trainer is 0 for 11 lifetime in graded stakes races. If she moves forward off that last race, which I expect that she will since that was her first race off a long layoff, then I think that this one is the likely winner. I think Smash Ticket's top competition in this race is the number 5 Pretty Birdie, who's likely going to be one of the horses vying for that lead on a quick pace. She comes in off back-to-back second-place finishes behind very classy fillies Monterey and Wicked Halo. In the Leslie's Lady, she set the pace in her usual position, but Wicked Halo stalked right beside her before pulling past and putting Pretty Birdie away mid-stretch. This race is a bit shorter than that 7 furlongs, and the question is if she can put away the other pace horses and still hold off the other talented runners coming from off the pace. None of these horses are as proven as the 2 that she lost to recently, and her speed figures are the highest in this field. Even with a fast prompted pace, I think she could possibly just put this field away from the lead. I'm going to go too deep in this slate. I'm going to include the number 5 Pretty Birdie and the number 2 Smash Ticket. Race 9 is the other Grade 1 race. It's the Grade 1 Belmont Derby going a mile and a quarter on the turf for 3-year-old males. And as I mentioned in the Oaks, whenever European horses do come across the pond to race in our highest quality races, they do historically perform pretty dominantly. I don't think this changes in this race, as my top 2 selections actually come from across the pond, and both of them ran in the last out same race, the Kazoo Derby at Epsom. In fact, 3 horses in this field come in by way of the Kazoo, with the number 8 Royal Patronage, number 10 Nation's Pride, and the number 13 Stone Age having run in that race. Of those, I like the number 10 and number 13, but I'm going to take Nation's Pride over Stone Age as my top pick. They went off the 3rd and 2nd choices in that field, but neither were a match for eventual winner Desert Crown, finishing 8th and 6th respectively. Nation's Pride was well further back than his typical stalking position, but I think he will be more forwardly placed this weekend as he never really fired from near the back that day. Stone Age appeared to have a better trip riding the rails, saving ground, but had no late kick and ran flat in the stretch for 6th. Though this is a nice field they faced this weekend, I think the Epsom competition they faced in their last out race was stronger. One other thing to consider is that Dettori comes to ride Nation's Pride and Moore comes to ride Stone Age. Each jockey only has 2 mounts on the card in the Oaks and the Derby. Jockeys of that caliber are not coming here unless they are on very live horses. So I think these are the top 2 horses in this race, and they're going to be my top 2 selections. I'm going to add one more US-based horse to my pick 5 ticket, and that's the number 9 Tiz the Bomb, who we have not seen on the turf since last November in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, where he was flying home late to get 2nd. In that race, Tiz the Bomb was positioned near the rear of the field and was still far back at the top of the stretch. He split through tiring rivals, rapidly closing, but was left with just a bit too much work to do at a mile. He has won at a mile and a 16th before, and added distance likely won't be a problem. If he runs back to the form on turf that we saw him on prior to his attempted Derby trail, and the pace comes up quick, I think he has the best chance of the US-based horses. The pace could potentially be quick with the number 11 Emmanuel, who always runs to the front, and the number 4 Classic Causeway trying the turf for the first time. So again, I will go 3 deep in this leg with the number 9 Tiz the Bomb, number 10 Nation's Pride, and number 13 Stone Age. I do like a couple nice prices to hit the board possibly, so I will be investing in this race as well. I give the number 2 Stolen Base, number 6 Machete, and number 7 Side Dog great shots to finish in the money. So putting together that pick 5 ticket, as I mentioned before, race 7, I'm going to single the number 10 Concert Hall. Race 8, I'm going to use the number 2 Smash Ticket and the number 5 Pretty Birdie. Race 9, I'm going to go 3 deep with the number 9 Tiz the Bomb, the number 10 Nation's Pride, and the number 13 Stone Age. The pick 5 concludes with 2 non-stakes races in race 10 and race 11. And race 10, I'm going to use the number 5 Feathers Road, the number 7 Salt K, and the number 12 Hey Mac It's Jack. And race 11 looks like the most wide open race of the card. I'm going to use the number 5 Sheriff Bianco, the number 6 After 5, the number 10 He's Got It, the number 11 BC Glory Days, and I'm also going to throw in the 1A Civil Service if he does draw into the field. He is on the also eligibles list. The total for that is $36. For the early races on the card, this is how I see it. Race 1, I like the 5-2-7. Race 2, I like the 8-9-4. Race 3, I like the 8-7-6. Race 4 is the Grade 2 Suburban, but they only drew 5 horses into the field. I'm going to take a chance here and think that Max Player moves forward in a smaller field, which he can possibly sit closer to the pace, hopefully, and I'm going to play him on top. The 2-5-4 is how I see that one. Race 5, I see it as 11-7-5, and race 6, I see it as 4-1-8. So that's how I see the Belmont Derby and Belmont Oaks this weekend. I think that they're probably likely going to be won by the Euros, and probably shorter prices than what we see on the morning line even. But I do think that these are very deep competitive fields, and I do think there's a lot of value to be found underneath. So I'm going to take a chance at the trifectas and superfectas because I think they can pay pretty well. If you're interested, I have another video up for this weekend for the Indiana Oaks and Indiana Derby, both grade 3 races. Check out that video if you're interested in those races. And remember to like and subscribe to my videos. Hit that subscribe button if you like my content and if you want to see my future posts like these. This is Jeremy Pielmeyer for East Coast Wagering. Thanks for watching my video, and let's cash some tickets this weekend.